of COVID-19. Governor Nyesom Wike suspends Obiak Board chairman and deputy indefinitely, imposes curfew on committees and wants traditional rulers to enforce restriction orders. And on the foreign scene, Parliament in Hungary votes to allow Prime Minister rule by decree during period of coronavirus. Now the details. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the constitution of an Economic Sustainability Committee to be headed by the Vice President Yomi Banjo. Secretary to the Government of the Federal announced this in a media briefing in Abuja. The SGF, who is the head of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, said the committee is to ensure that the Nigerian economy is sustained during this period of global pandemic.
For economic sustainability, Mr. President has today approved the constitution of an Economic Sustainability Committee to be chaired by His Excellency, the Vice President. Similarly, you must have heard that Mr. President has also approved the exemption of the financial services sector from restrictions to allow skeletal operations in the financial system and the money market in order to keep the system in light operations during this period. We do not desire to slow down the economy in any way.
Nigerian senators have agreed to contribute 50% of their salaries to the efforts to curb the spread of the treatment of coronavirus in the country. A Senate Committee Vice Chairman on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Godiya Kwashiki, revealed this in a statement circulated in the media. A statement said that the contributions, which would be monthly, will be sustained until Nigeria is declared safe from the ravages of this deadly disease. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Hikwazu, has been explaining why the president imposed curfew in Abuja, Lagos, Ogun State. Speaking about the address by President Muhammadu Buhari, Hikwazu admitted that it was a tough decision to restrict movement in the affected places, especially Lagos and Abuja. The NCDC boss, however, stressed that the curfew was to ease the burden on health workers monitoring those suspected to have had contact with confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. According to him, the NCDC is following no fewer than 6,000 people suspected to have been in contact with the 111 confirmed cases of coronavirus in the country.
We are following over 6,000 contacts of these 111 confirmed cases across these two cities. Every time we have a new case, we add about 50 to 60 contacts that we then have to follow every single day for 14 days. If we can't do this, if we don't have access to these cases, so this is really one of the reasons, just one of the reasons why Mr. President took this very difficult decision. And it's not just to stop movement. It is to enable us and our teams, the Lagos State team, FCT team, reach the contacts, keep them at home, make sure they're supported, and see whether we can really use this time to buy some time to get ahead of the case.
The NCDC also acknowledged that available testing kits are not enough, which has led to the agency to review the test definition of the virus to differentiate to those who need to be tested from those who do not. He, however, assured that the agency is working hard to make more testing kits available. In the meantime, Nigeria has recorded a second death from the coronavirus. The Minister of Health, Dr. Sage Haniri, made a disclosure while briefing newsmen in Abuja on the fight against the virus. The minister said the patient who died over the weekend had severe underlying ailments.
Sadly, another fatality was recorded over the weekend in the person of a patient who had severe underlying illnesses. We have intensified contact tracing, and our strategy remains to promptly detect cases, isolate them, and follow up with their contacts, and also isolate and treat in order to reduce the spread of the infection. The Federal Ministry of Health is working closely with states and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to review response activities and to institute measures to protect the health and well-being of Nigerians, while the NCDC-led Multi-Sectoral Emergency Operations Center continues to coordinate national response activities.
The minister also disclosed that all retired and essential health workers who are still capable are to be recalled into service.
On the order of His Excellency the President, all retired but essential and able-bodied staff are to be recalled to service at this crucial period. In addition, training is being conducted for medical personnel to support overall preparedness and response activities to prevent the virus from spreading further into other states. We have identified about 1,000 beds in Abuja that can be put to use immediately as isolation centers if the need arises. Capacity to increase bed space is present.
However, the Lagos State government has discharged 5 coronavirus patients at Infectious Disease Center Yaba Mainland Hospital, and this brings to 8 the total number of discharged patients from the center. Reports say the patients who had been quarantined at the isolation center for weeks look stable and unruffled. One of the discharged patients gave an impressive hope, saying people should not panic as the virus could be defeated. And still on COVID-19, Oyo State Governor Shane Makinde has tested positive for coronavirus. Governor Makinde made his test results known via his Twitter handle. He appointed his deputy, Professor Timitokbe Alonge, would take over as the head of COVID-19 task force in the state. Governor Shane Makinde, who had imposed a dusk to dawn curfew in the state and suspended interstate transportation into and out of the state, urged residents to comply with directives aimed at curbing coronavirus in the states. As the virus continues to spread, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control says it has ordered the manufacturing of chloroquine for emergency stock for possible clinical treatment of coronavirus. NAFDAC's Director General, Professor Mojisola Deyeye, in a statement said the old anti-malaria is now being repurposed for the clinical trial treatment of coronavirus. Deyeye said that the decision follows the use of chloroquine in other countries to treat coronavirus. The statement said other researchers in France, the US, have used the drug for the clinical trial treatment of COVID-19, and they reported effectiveness of the drug. And NAFDAC board said Lagos State will be starting the clinical trial on the drug. You're listening to the World News in Today95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news, foreign and sports stories. Just stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Thanks for staying tuned. Welcome back. You're still on to the World News on Today 95.1 FM. The River State Governor Nyesom Wike has suspended the council chairman of Obiakpo local government area of the state, Solomon Abel AK, and his deputy for failing to implement the state government's directive on the closure of markets. Governor Wike made the announcement during the statewide broadcast on the COVID-19. He said AK and his vice were suspended for failing to implement the state government's directive on the closure of markets, and their indefinite suspension takes immediate effect.
My dear good people of Rivers State, based on suggestions by well-meaning Rivers people, government is looking into setting up food markets across the state, the workability of it. As a result of the flagrant violation of the closure of markets in other local government area, the local government council chairman and his deputy are hereby suspended indefinitely. Let me reiterate that this government will continue to do what is right, no matter who's involved. As you are all aware, no conventional war has granted global life and economy like coronavirus has done. Everybody is affected. Therefore, all hands must be on deck to defeat coronavirus.
The River State government threatened to take over any property used as a drinking joint in Port Harcourt as Governor Wike imposes curfew on several communities. The governor, because of the violation of the market closure for the imposed dusk to dawn curfew in Obequere Junction between Uzoba, Umalogo to Choba, and from Education bus stop to Ajib Junction, adding that the State Security Council reached a decision after it monitored compliance with the state government's directive. Governor Wike therefore charged traditional rulers, youth leaders, and community development committees to ensure that all beer parlors remain closed.
With effect from Tuesday tomorrow, there will be a dusk-to-dawn curfew from Obirikwere Junction, which leads to Ozoba, Romalog, and Choba, and from Education Bus Stop to Ajib Junction, Ikwe Road, respectively. All beer parlors and public drinking joints are hereby closed because they have suddenly become an extension of nightclubs that were earlier shut down. Any beer parlor or public drinking joint found to be open shall be acquired by the state government. All landlords are advised to warn their tenants who use their property as beer parlors or public drinking joints to adhere to this directive. Traditional rulers, youth leaders, and community development committees are to ensure that beer parlors and public drinking joints in their areas remain closed. Any traditional ruler who allows markets to be open in his domain will be deposed. Government is investigating the illegal operation of markets at night at Woji and Elelewo communities. Further violation by residents of these two communities will attract declaration of curfew. Further flagrant violation of the closure of markets will attract a statewide declaration of curfew. We must understand that people must be alive before they eat food. As a responsive government, we have also reviewed our earlier directives and resolved to grant waivers, medical and pharmaceutical personnel, food and beverages, essential oil and gas staff, petroleum products, media workers, and newspaper distributors.
As part of efforts to complement the River State government's laid down measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the state, the Federation of Tourism Association has set up a committee to enforce the directives of the state government in the tourism industry. Coordinator of the association in River State, Eugene Ozi, who confirmed the development in an interview with our correspondent Uchendo Ejowo, said the organization will not fail to shut down any hotel or restaurants that fail to comply with the directives. Ozi, who is also the state chairman of the Nigerian Hotel Association, said the committee will also regulate the use of swimming pools in hotels in the state.
Except few hotels, we have been going around since 2 weeks now, and we want to reinforce the directive from the state government. We believe that any hotel that not put up any preventive measures, that will be shut down, and we will ensure we see the hotel or any restaurant that's not complying will be sealed. You know, in the pool, swimming pool are always treated chlorine. I will tell you that we will need to go there. We have mapped out some hotels and swimming pool where we have to visit, and we will visit them soon. We have to look at the environment first to check the treatment of the pool. Because if the pool is well treated, and then there's no need. But if not well treated, then we will tell them to shut down the pool.
The River State Police Command has directed all divisional police officers and other commanders of tactical units in the state to ensure compliance with the directives of the Inspector General of Police on decongestion of police cells across the state. Spokesman of the command, Nnamdi Omoni, told our correspondent Uchendo Ejowo at the Commission of Police, Mustafa Dendora, ordered DPOs and commanders of tactical units during a meeting to use their discretion in the arrest and detention of suspects, especially in this period when social distancing is necessary. Omoni, who is Deputy Superintendent of Police at the command, will not fail to discipline any erring officer on the directives of IGP that suspect of minor cases should not be detained overnight in cells to avoid overcrowding.
Now, as a command, we are duty-bound to carry out the clear directives of the Inspector General of Police on arrest and detention of suspects in this critical time. Now, that directive was cascaded here, and the Commissioner of Police had a meeting with all the HODs and the DPOs in the command, where he sounded loud and clear that officers should exercise extreme discretion in the arrest and detention of suspects, except where absolutely necessary, and in cases of serious matters like murder, courtesy, armed robbery. These are matters that investigation will take quite some time. So in such cases, and again, the police lacks the decision to release ground bail in this.
Our correspondent who visited the command headquarters in Moscow Road in Port Harcourt report that movement has been restricted inside the command as only newsmen and police personnel are allowed access into the premises. Those reports say from Bera community in Gokana, local government area of River State, says that 2 men have been shot dead by unknown gunmen who invaded the community in the early hours of Monday. Our correspondents gather that unknown gunmen invaded the community, shooting sporadically after killing their victims. A source from the community told our correspondent the mother of one of the deceased, identified as Donubari Tuema Kude, was also shot but still alive as at the time of this report. A source further revealed that unspecified number of persons who were hit by stray bullets have been rushed to an undisclosed hospital. When contacted, Public Relations Officer of Rivers State Police Commandant Amdi Omoni said the command was yet to be briefed on the incident. And on the foreign scene, the Hungarian parliament has voted by 137 to 53% to accept the government's request for the power to rule by decree during the coronavirus emergency. Prime Minister Viktor Orban promised to use the extraordinary powers he has been granted proportionately and rationally. The leader of the opposition Jobbik Party, Peter Jakab, said that the law placed the whole of Hungarian democracy in quarantine. The special powers have no limits, and critics say independent journalists could face jail. To end the news, here's a summary of the major stories. Vice President Yemi Banjo has been appointed chair to the Economic Sustainability Committee on COVID-19 constituted by President Muhammadu Buhari. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has tested positive to coronavirus as Lagos discharges 5 patients of COVID-19. We also told you that the Governor of Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike, has suspended chairman and deputy of Obiakpo local government area indefinitely, imposed curfew on communities and warned traditional rulers to enforce restriction orders. And on the foreign scene, you heard that the parliament in Hungary has voted to allow their prime minister to rule by decree during period of coronavirus. And that was the news is edited by Victor Esiama. For comments and inquiries, please call 081-5341-8657 or 081-4434-3502 or send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. Thank you for listening. I am Buchi Rafua. Today's quest is on. Good morning.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Nenwero si anviko anu no he kamo no ko kafi igwere gon ku kafu okasiguri ke kanu ku no eli Nigeria no oria ke fiare li eli Nigeria no oria ka no bu kezi no bu watakri no bu nezi no bu ne pawe wai osma ko no bu ne bagma ko wai no bu ne ke bu ne noji no bu ne ke na chafrifri kana no hu ne eme eli verere he wa ma ko fiale Nigeria government of Rivers State na kama ko na anu mekata ma patu badaka anu mekata ma bate badaka anu mekata ma baru wanaka Hobuna Yoko Gaka, Wasama, Fifirifi, Onakamako, Anana here, Anu Guzoru, Elevadu Jiri, Onakamako, Worotu, Guabaguno, where she could have sanitizer, and Vico, Hanuno, Yusua, Nano, Hulene, given a quato hot, Mobuneki, Metia, Mobuneki, Onadoluna Yele, Mobuneki, Ariana, Rashiri Kerike, Gurunecham, Guru Kuse Hospital, Mobanu Shukuno Bakamocho Pehakita, 080-561-09538. Nakamako number 080-31888-093.
This message is powered by Honorable Solomon Abel Eke, the Executive Chairman, Obiako Local Government Area.
Welcome to Returns Market Investment Nigeria Limited, a financial home that has impacted lives and given meaning to every life and home and companies with values using the international capital market business for the past 3 years in Port Harcourt. Returns Market Investment Nigeria Limited is strictly into the international capital market business that delivers 10% returns on investment monthly with a minimum startup capital of 300,000 naira and a maximum capital of 100 million naira. If you are looking for 100% security of your funds and constant delivery of your returns on investment, then think Returns Market Investment Nigeria Limited. Contact our head office today at number 33B, Rumola Stadium Link Road, Port Harcourt, Rivers State, or our branch office at number 10 NTA Road, Rumokuta Checkpoint Junction, Port Harcourt, Rivers State, or call us now on 0903 652 7708. You can also visit our website at www.returnsinvestmentnigerialimited.com.
Welcome to the Peak Breakfast Show, brought to you by Peak Milk.
Good morning, everyone. It is time for the Pig Breakfast Show. This show is where we talk about the amazing success stories of some of the world's biggest and some of your favorite sports stars. Now, we do this because we want to inspire you to be better and to be driven on your way to the peak of your career, because as Pig Milk always says, it's in you. It goes without saying, the show is proudly brought to you by your nutritious Pig Milk. And of course, you can listen to the show every Monday and Friday on the station and at this time, as we bring you different success stories each time from different sports stars to show you that just like them, you can also reach the peak. The show is brought to you once again by your favorite nutritious and delicious Pig Milk, which of course contains 28 vitamins and minerals, including vitamin B1, B12, and iodine. Pig Milk also comes in various packs and prices, so there is something for everyone, and everyone can have a taste of the delicious and nutritious Pig Milk. So go to a store near you, ask for Pig Milk, and don't leave there till you purchase one to keep you, your family, and friends healthy. On the show, we present you with the success story of one big sporting icon on each episode, and of course, we take our icons across different worlds of sports to tell you about their successes and prove to you that just like these stars, you can also reach for your peak. Now, we'll tell you more about the show when we return, but first off, let's hear a bit more from our sponsors, the nutritious, delicious Pig Milk.
He's my son.
Hey, I know, Mama. He's also my husband.
Some people say wives and mother-in-laws don't get along well. They obviously haven't met my wife and my mom. They are practically like sisters.
Hey, Mama, you know that new shiny George material? I bought one for you and one for me.
And me. I've already seen 2 new shoes for both of us that will match.
Oh, Mama, thank you.
Wait, who's paying for it?
You, of course.
See what I mean? But if there's one place they are very different, it's in their choice of Pig Milk. While my mother likes Pig Filled for me, please, because it has low cholesterol, while my wife prefers
Pig Full Cream for me, honey,
because it's rich and creamy. So, whether it's Pig Filled Milk with its low cholesterol or Pig Full Cream that's rich and creamy, choose your peak today.
Peak. Reach for your peak.
Good morning. Did you have your peak breakfast today? Whether you're Team Peak Full Cream, who love their milk rich and creamy, or Team Peak Filled, who prefer their milk with low cholesterol, choose your peak today. Preparing breakfast can bring up quite a few choices, like these ones. Would you prefer to have toast bread or tuna sandwiches? Would you prefer to have pap over oats? Would you rather have cereal or a nice steaming cup of coffee? Decisions, decisions, decisions. When it comes to breakfast, choosing the right nourishment matters. There are those who prefer milk that's low in cholesterol, who readily go for their favorite Pig-filled milk, and there's also another set of people who love their milk rich and creamy, and they go for the Pig Full Cream milk. So you ask, how will I know the difference? Well, that's quite simple. Just take a look at the bottom right corner of the pack. Every Pig Full Cream milk pack has a golden swirl at the bottom right corner, while the Pig Filled milk packs have a blue swirl at the bottom right corner. They also come in small sachets, evap tins, and large pouches. So whether you're Team Pig Full Cream, who love their milk rich and creamy, or Team Pig Filled, who prefer their milk with low cholesterol, go ahead and enjoy your ever-nourishing Pig Milk however you choose.
Reach for your peak.
It really gets me going.
And listen to the Peak Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. It's still the Peak Breakfast Show, brought to you by Pig Milk. On today's edition of the show, we will be talking to you about a man who has risen to the peak of his career with sheer determination, relentless hard work, laser focus, and breathtaking consistency. His name is Odion Igalo. Born and raised in Ajegunle, Lagos, he now plays his football on the biggest stage of them all, at Manchester United. Now, Igalo was born way back in 1989, June 16 to be precise, right here in Lagos. He was first raised in Edo State, where he hails from, but then he started his professional football career at FC Prime in Osogbo, and also featured for Julius Berger of Lagos, where he was discovered by FIFA agent Marcelo Haussmann, who orchestrated his first move out of Nigeria when he moved to Lyn in Norway. Of course, before all of this, Gallo made a name for himself growing up on the famous football pitches in Ajegunle. Now, through his persistence and consistency, Igalo eventually earned earned his way to reckoning. How did he do it? Well, he had stints in Italy, he also played some football in Spain, and then eventually he caught the eye of the world after his loan move to Watford in 2014. After hitting the ground running at the London club in the Championship, his loan contract was quickly terminated and he was signed permanently on the same day. Basically, Watford said, we don't want him to be temporary. We want him here with us full time. And that's what they did. They signed him onto a permanent contract. He was 25 years old at the time, and he rewarded the club by doing what he knows how to do best, scoring goals and always striving to reach for his peak in every football match. Now, of course, he scored goals aplenty, including 4 goals in a 7-2 victory over Blackpool FC in one season. Now, of course, the more interesting thing is that all 4 goals came in the second half. He ended that season with 20 goals in all competitions and helped Watford gain promotion to the Premier League. Even at a much bigger stage, Ighalo still showed that at the peak of football in England, he could always reach for his peak and deliver the goods, because that season, Ighalo netted an impressive 15 Premier League goals. And then, of course, after 2.5 years at Watford, where he amassed 99 caps, Ighalo made his way to the Far East in China and signed for a club called Changchun Yatai. Now, there again, Ighalo didn't stop. He was in a new country, in new surroundings, but he still reached for his peak. He banged in the goals for fun, and of course, unsurprisingly, Shanghai Shenhua, one of the biggest clubs in China, they came calling for Ighalo. As a result, for his hard work, focus and consistency, after also banging in goals with Shanghai Shenhua, Ighalo recently got his dream move. Now, we didn't tell you earlier on, but while growing up on the streets of Ajegule in Lagos and also in Edo State, Ighalo always supported Manchester United. In fact, when he first moved to England, he went on a tour as a visitor of the Manchester United Stadium. And then this year, at the age of 30, after many years of putting in the hard work, after many years of grinding and striving to reach for his peak, Odion Ighalo got his dream move and he was signed by Manchester United in January. The 30-year-old signing was questioned by some football fans, but Ighalo never doubted himself. Why would he? All through his career, he had always reached for his peak, and even though he was playing at Manchester United, things were not going to be any different. So what did Ighalo do when he got to Manchester United? He put his head down, got to work, strived harder, and he's already looking like he's reaching for his peak. In a few matches, he has wowed the fans, scored spectacular goals, and generally made a great impact. So far, he's gotten 4 goals in 3 starts for Manchester United, and he has, of course, earned plaudits from fans, from teammates, and even from legends of old at Manchester United. Some of them were skeptical when Ighalo first signed, but Ighalo showed them that he will play at the peak of his powers and will always deliver the goods, because that's what he does. So he's managed now to convince them and show them that he is the real deal. On the international stage, Ighalo has also shown like a million stars, leaving his footprint in the history of time with the Super Eagles. He started his national team career in 2015, but of course a low point came when in 2018 at the World Cup, Nigeria crashed out in the group stage. Not only did Ighalo fail to find the back of the net in his first international tournament, he also missed a glorious chance in a decisive game against Argentina. As expected, there was an uproar from fans, and it looked as though Ighalo's time with the national team could have been over. It was indeed a low point for Odion Ighalo. However, as a true champion, he rose once again to the peak of his powers and finished the year with 6 goals in 10 games in his return to the national team. He redeemed himself first by finishing as the top scorer in all of Africa in the qualifying series for the African Cup of Nations with 7 goals, and then outscored every other player at the tournament to win the Golden Boot at the African Cup of Nations as well. Of course, his goals were pivotal, taking Nigeria all the way to the semi-finals, where we eventually finished 3rd. And of course, he was subsequently named in the team of the tournament, being the only Nigerian in that team. Truly, with club and with country, Odion Ighalo has reached the peak with the Super Eagles of Nigeria and with Manchester United of England. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, it'll be time to tell you more about it. You can also rise to your peak like Odion Ighalo. It's still the Peak Breakfast Show, brought to you by your nutritious and delicious pig milk.
Hey, when I just start this my mechanic work, me and my oga, we be like cat and mouse. Every time, not so shout. out to.
Moshood, ready 10-11 flats now.
As time con dey go, me and my oga, we con gel well. When we watch ball, na the same team we dey support. If we wan con chop, na the same kind food. Especially Shaki and Bokoto, we get PhD. But on top all our collabo, our milk dey different. As my oga, they like pig filled milk, ready for blue sachet. It con get low cholesterol. Why me, Atanda Gidigba, on top pig full cream milk, where they rich, come they creamy well. Make yourself begin to choose your pig today.
Peak. Reach for your peak.
Peak Breakfast Show. Success, motivation, nutrition. Welcome back to the show. It is still the Peak Breakfast Show. On today's edition of the show, we've got some productivity tips to help you work effectively from home. Now, number one, have a schedule and stick to it. All right? Working from home doesn't mean you get to be loose with your schedule. Have a schedule and stick to it. Number two, create a routine and be timely. All right? Create a routine and be timely. Basically, know what you should be doing at every given time. Number three, give yourself sufficient breaks. Just because you're working from home doesn't mean you need to throw yourself all into work. Remember what they say about all work and no play. Number four, when you take breaks, remember to socialize at intervals. All right? Make a phone call to a friend. Go online for a little bit. Do a video call with another friend. Socialize at intervals. And of course, number five, and maybe most important, remember to always grab a cup of pig milk for your nourishment. All right, guys, let's go on another break. When we come back, it'll be time to hook you up with our pig milk recipe for today. Stick around. It is still the Peak Breakfast Show. Peak Breakfast Show. A little bit of everything you need to reach your peak. Welcome back to the show, guys. Time to wrap things up with a peak recipe for today right here on the Peak Breakfast Show. Now, it goes without saying, of course, that healthy living is especially fundamental in these times where health is crucially important. Beyond drugs, the best way to combat any ailment, including COVID-19, is by living and eating healthy to boost your immune system. With pig milk, eating healthy is all but certain. As a result, we recommend a nutritious recipe that will not only leave you licking your lips, but of course help you develop strong antibodies that will keep you healthy. It's a pig milk shake. Thankfully, it needs only a few ingredients, so even a lockdown cannot stop you from enjoying the delight of a pig milkshake. Now, the pig milkshake needs just 4 ingredients, and it could be ready in as little as 5 minutes. First, blend your milkshake and pour it into a glass, then stick it back in the freezer. Let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then it's ready to drink. If you don't have a blender, you can simply add your ice cream and pig milk to a large bowl and use a rubber spatula to stir until the milk is incorporated. And then, of course, pour it into a glass. So here are the ingredients. You need 4 large scoops, or about 1.5 cup of vanilla ice cream. You need a 1/4 cup of pig milk. You need whipped topping for garnish, and then sprinkles also for garnish. And here are the directions. First off, you start off with a blender, blend together ice cream and pig milk, pour into a glass, and garnish with whipped toppings and sprinkles. And voila, your milkshake is ready. You just have 1 serving. Remember to share with others. It's necessary, especially in times like this. And on that note, guys, we've come to the end of today's edition on the Peak Breakfast Show. It has been an absolute pleasure bringing the show your way. And of course, if you enjoyed it, remember to tell a friend to tune in next time when we come on air, which of course will be on Friday. Same time and on the same dial. We'll bring you another exciting edition of the Peak Breakfast Show. Don't forget, you can always stay in touch with Peak Milk on social media. Follow on Twitter at Peak Milk, and also, of course, on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pigmilk. Until next week, when we deliver another edition of the Peak Breakfast Show, stay healthy and keep taking your nutritious and delicious pig milk. Thanks for listening to the Peak Breakfast Show, brought to you by Pig Milk.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
My name is Simidele Adiagbo, the first ever Nigerian skeleton athlete to compete in the Winter Olympics. To keep tabs on trending sports stories across the globe, keep listening to Sports Attack on your premium talk, news, and sports radio station. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. You will be glad you did.
A beautiful morning to you all and welcome to Sports Attack, the last edition of the month of March on your premium talk news and sports radio station, Today 95.1 FM, right here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. It is Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. My name is Tokus Cookie, the sports diva, and I'll be bringing you up to speed with all the latest and trending sports stories making the rounds in the world of sport. Let's get the show started from the Sport Ministry, where Minister of Youth and Sports Development and the Dare has informed that a meeting with the National Council on Sports, the highest sports decision-making body in the country, will determine the new date for the 20th National Sports Festival, tagged Edo 2020. The 2020 NSF earlier scheduled to run from 22nd of March to the 1st of April in Benin City, the Edo state capital, was postponed indefinitely over fears of the deadly coronavirus pandemic. A planned meeting between the Sports Ministry and the National Council on Sports to assess the impact of the postponement, among other things, was equally shifted due to the coronavirus guidelines that prohibited a large gathering of people in the country. Speaking in Abuja over the weekend, Mr. Dare disclosed that he expects to meet with the Supreme Body decision-making body sometime next month to assess the situation and decide when the biannual sports festival will be staged.
I'd called for the National Council on Sport. I called for a meeting last week, but we had to put it off because we realized that it's going to be a gathering of about 130 people, and we didn't want to go against the directives given, which is 50 people per gathering. The National Council on Sports is the highest sports decision-making body in the country. So we hope that after the 2 weeks break or 3 weeks, sometime before the end of April, the National Council on Sports will meet as a body, will review the impact of the postponement, will be briefed by health experts about the trend, whether we have reached a table, whether it's declining. We'll also look at what is available in terms of health facilities, surveillance, and the rest, or that needs to be put in place for the NSF. So it's going to be a process. I want to leave that decision to the National Council on Sports. We're working with other stakeholders, the health authorities, the governor or the government of Edo State. We look at it. Everything is hinged on stemming the spread of COVID-19. Beyond that, you can hardly make any projection.
The COVID-19 pandemic, which has claimed over 34,000 lives globally, has more than 100 confirmed cases in Nigeria. It's controlled in the country will, to a large extent, determine the stage of the 2020 Sports Festival. However, the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games have been rescheduled to start on July 23rd, 2021, after being postponed due to coronavirus. The International Olympic Committee, that's IOC, has confirmed the Games will run until August 8th, taking up the same slot as originally scheduled for 2020, while the Paralympic Games will now take place from August 24th to September 5th. The executive board of the organizers of the Tokyo 2020 met yesterday and announced the required number of volunteers have been reached and will now be asking those who have confirmed their roles if they would participate in the rescheduled games. Torchbearers who have confirmed for the postponed torch rally will also be given priority selection for next year's Olympic torch relay. Organizers are working on measures to ensure purchased tickets will be valid for corresponding rescheduled events next year, and that face value refunds are given to ticket holders who cannot attend events in 2021. In addition, the organizers have announced all 18 Olympic test events from April 2020 onwards are postponed. Quoting them, they said the new date, exactly 1 year after those originally planned for 2020, also have the added benefit that any disruption that the postponement will cause to the international sports calendar can be kept to a minimum in the interest of the athletes and international federations. Additionally, they will provide sufficient time to finish the qualification process. The same heat mitigation measures as planned for 2020 will be implemented. Elsewhere, the governing body of swimming, that's FINA, and International Athletics Federation, IAAF, has welcomed the new Tokyo Olympic dates without giving any details of how to reschedule its own championships in next year. Tokyo organizers say the opening ceremony will take place on July 23rd, 2021, almost exactly 1 year after the games were due to start this year. The IOC and Japanese organizers last week postponed the Olympics until 2021 because of the coronavirus pandemic. FINA's biannual World were planned for July 16, August 1st to 2021 in Fukuoka. That slot is now taken by the Tokyo Olympics. The governing body of track quickly committed to pushing back its World Championship to 2022, but FINA has the added complement of the 2022 Commonwealth Games because many top swimmers compete in both events. The 2021 Track World was scheduled to be next year from August 6th to the 15th, while athletics say it will consult with the organizers of the Commonwealth Games and the European Athletics Championships. Those are other major track events scheduled to take place in 2022. All sports federations involved in the Olympics signed off on the new date. Let's go talk boxing on the show this morning, where Dylan White's heavyweight showdown against Alexander Povetkin on May 2nd is off due to the coronavirus. The British star was due to take on his Russian opponent in Manchester Arena, but the countrywide lockdown means it can no longer take place. Promoter Eddie Hearn says we will make an announcement, but basically, yes, it is off. The May 2nd card was stopped by the heavyweight, but also featured other top fighters. The British Boxing Board of Control has suspended all events until the end of April, but that could be extended. So far, there have been around 20,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus and more than 1,000 deaths in the United Kingdom. White says, and I'm quoting, "It's frustrating, but at the minute, there is much more serious things going on in the world. Have been focused on preparing for May 2nd and have had a good camp, but that's life and you've got to take it as it comes." Meanwhile, the British Boxing Board of Control have suspended the license of Billy Joe Saunders after he released the video which appeared to condone domestic violence. The WBO super middleweight champion filmed himself walking out on a punch bag in a barn, advising men on how to hit their female partners if tempers fled during the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, which resulted in a fierce backlash on social media. A statement from the BBBOC said the British Boxing Board of Control, having considered comments made by Billy Joe Saunders on social media, have suspended his boxing license pending a hearing until under the board's misconduct regulation at a time and venue to be confirmed as soon as possible. Now Saunders is speaking. He said, "I can only take it back and apologize." He told Talk Sports, "I will be donating £25,000 to support the domestic violence charity. It was a silly thing to do, but it has been done and I can't take it back. It wasn't meant to be suggesting go and hit your wife and your loved ones." Promoter Eddie Hearn admits he was appalled by Saunders for releasing an idiotic video which appeared to condone domestic violence. Saunders has issued an apology, but Matchroom Boxing boss Hearn admits his fighter's behavior was unacceptable. And straight to the world of tennis, where this year's Wimbledon Championships will be cancelled, according to the German Tennis Federation, with the All-English England Lawn Tennis Club meeting on Wednesday to make a final decision. The All-England Lawn Tennis Club are to hold an emergency board meeting, having last week confirmed postponement and cancellation were being considered amid the coronavirus pandemic. The championships are due to take place from June 29 to July 12, but Dirk Hordorf, Vice President of the German Tennis Federation, said its fate has already been decided. He said, quoting, "I'm also involved in the bodies of the ATP and WTA. The necessary decisions have already been made there, and Wimbledon will decide to cancel on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. There is no doubt about that. The possibility of a postponement remains, but the message appears to be paving the way for cancellation of the 2020 championship." Wimbledon has been consulting widely within tennis after the French Tennis Federation provoked anger with its unilateral decision to move the French Open from May, June to September, October. And that's all we do have for you on other sports. Now let's go straight to football, and starting from the local scene, straight from the MPFL, where coach of Vikitaris, Usman Abdallah, is happy with the position of his team on the league table after the Nigerian Football Federation called for the league management company to suspend the Nigerian Professional Football League indefinitely. The MPFL was put on hold after match of 25 fixtures played across several venues in the country. Goda Mohammed in the 55th minute converted a penalty to seal the victory for the Bauchi-based club to peep Kano Pillars at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium in Bauchi to stay afloat on the log. But Abdallah insists that whatever decision the LMC makes considering the league wouldn't affect his side's position.
It's good for me because if we have not won this match, it will be difficult. So whatever decision they are going to say, stop the league, continue, we are on the safer side. Yeah, if they want to stop the league and say, okay, we'll stop the league and do it next year. So I'm not in the relegation zone, so I'm safe. And that's the whole point for it.
Victorious are 15th on the table with 31 points from 25 games. Meanwhile, Sunshine Stars defender Harrison Egbuni has advised the LMC to be very careful and fair with whatever decision they take concerning the premature end of the league due to the COVID-19 pandemic after 25 match days.
Sometimes in Nigeria, the voice of masses or the voice of the people is being neglected. We've learned to live by whatever means we see or whatever situation we find ourselves. Or whatever decision they take, either the league should continue or go for like Super C, Super A, or probably crown Plateau United as champion. We'll go by it, and whatever decision they take, we'll stand by it. That is just my own.
Also speaking, Nasarawa United left back Ebuka Aniwekwe fears that the league might be stopped after the 25 matches. Let's also hear from him.
I feel safe because it's a matter of life and death, and it's for the well-being of the nation. But I'm a little bit scared because this kind of thing now in Nigeria League, we don't know what might happen. The league may be cancelled or resumed back. I think I pray it shouldn't be cancelled because we still have a lot to go.
Recall in 2018, the MPFL went on a break for the FIFA World Cup in Russia, but failed to resume 7 months later after 22 match days played, with Lovi Stars asked to represent the country at the CAF Champions League. Still in the MPFL, Rangers international player Christian Mado has described the ill-fated death of Rangers forward defying George as a huge loss to the club and to Nigeria football in general. George died alongside his friend Eteka Gabriel and teammate Emmanuel Ubu in a car crash which happened on the Bini Agua Road as the three individuals made their way to Lagos on the 22nd of March 2020. Madu recalls his last moments of defying George, who was beside him at a meeting with the club management while they were to discuss a 10-day break due to the coronavirus outbreak.
It means a lot, especially we Rangers. It means a lot because we sat down together and the management addressed us and gave us 10 days break. Everybody was sitting down, everybody was happy. We are going to see our family, all those kind of things. So painful to the club and to the entire Nigeria League. We lost a great player.
Ifeanyi George was buried on Saturday, so may his soul rest in perfect peace. Into the camp of the Flamingos, where interim coach of the Nigeria Under-19 women's national team, Moses Aduku, has charged the players of the Falconets to keep training individually and to keep in shape. The team was the camp following the order to suspend all football activities in the country for 4 weeks, having been in camp for the FIFA Under-19 Women's World Cup qualifiers against Burkina Faso initially. Aduku stated that the girls should continue to train on their own so as to be fit to play when called upon after the coronavirus pandemic.
We are not going to come. Immediately, this situation, the whole country is fighting again. Coronavirus, everybody is arrested. We'll go back to camp. Individually, we told them that they should be training. Even if the actors are not training, but they should be training also. Let the guys closed up. Don't them to be serious because we don't know when it takes to be called on for us to play. Burkina Faso.
The two-time World Cup runners-up Nigeria have participated at every edition of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup since it was launched as the Under-19 tournament in Canada 18 years ago. This year's final will be co-hosted by Costa Rica and Panama. And straight to the camp of the Super Eagles, where retired Nigerian footballer Segun Odebami has said that the Super Eagles coach Gennett Rowe was impressed with the attitude and professionalism of his assistant coach Joseph Yobo after both men decided to talk to each other to reduce the tension that the announcement of the former captain by the Nigerian Football Federation without consulting the Franco-German had created. Odebami added that any doubt over good working relationship between former player Yobo and Raw should be put to bed, as both men seem to have hit it off on a good note. NFF appointed the former Eagles defender as assistant coach of the team in February, and the 66-year-old said in March that he had not heard from his assistant, a statement which sparked rumors that both men were not in talking terms. However, Odebami confirmed that both men have been talking on the telephone and things were good between them. Let's quote him. He said, "From reports I gathered, the German seems very impressed with Joseph Yobo's comportment and professionalism and is happy with what he now sees as the value the Nigerian would add to the national team in terms of resourcefulness, knowledge, accessibility to European managers, and the respect he commands amongst the Super Eagles big players. Odebami wrote. He further went on to say, although details of their conversation are private and still unofficial, Yebo confirms they have been very friendly and were going very well before the preparations for the Sierra Leone match was halted. Meanwhile, former Super Eagles player and assistant coach Jan Mokachi has named the former Chelsea midfielder John Mikel Obi as the greatest Nigerian player ever. Mokachi, who was recently appointed as Nigeria's football ambassador by President Muhammadu Buhari, believes Mikel Obi is ahead of Nigerian legend Austin Jejo Okocha and Kanu Nwankwo because of his achievements in football so far. Quoting him, he said, Mikel Obi is the greatest Nigerian player. Omokachi told Brila FM in Lagos he had won everything that a player can hope to: the Champions League, the Europa AFCON in 2013, and he also captained the national team. As a footballer, your laurels count, and that will surely count for Mikel because nobody has won that much in Nigerian football. Mikel Obi retired from international football in 2019 after leading the Super Eagles to win the third-place bronze medal at the 2019 AFCON in Egypt. The former Trabzonspor star has won 9 major trophies in his career so far, including the Champions League, Europa League, and 2 Premier League titles. Let's take the Super Eagles and go talk some of the Green Eagles, where Shegun, the mathematical, they're going to reveal that the March 22nd, 1980 African Cup of Nations winning squad was the most prepared team in the history of Nigerian football. March 22nd, 2020 was exactly 40 years. Nigeria recorded her first African Cup of Nations win on home soil. Nigeria defeated Algeria 3-0 at the main bowl of the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos, in the final of the Continental Football Showpiece to lift the trophy for the very first time. Nebgami insisted that despite the pressure of playing the North Africans and Ghana, the massive support from Nigerians played a huge part for them to win the title.
The Africa Cup of Nations in 1980 was a new experience for all of us. We had never did any such thing. Nigerians truly didn't believe that we deserved to have been champions before then. They went all the way. They did everything possible to prepare that team. There has never been a more prepared team in our history. We went to Europe. We spent almost 3 months in Brazil. They hired one of the best coaches for us around the world, Dr. Gloria, who had so much experience and coached the Portuguese national team. And they took care of us, so we were ready. By the time we arrived back in Lagos to prepare for the last leg of the Nations Cup, we believed also that we could win. Even though at the back of our minds, there were so many threats. There were the North African teams that we had to deal with. There was Ghana, there was Guinea. So there were big teams in it. But from match to match, our confidence just built up. Total and absolute support and the preparations that we did. It just made sense that the only thing left was the psychology and how we played on the field of play. And on that day, everything worked together and we played and we won.
Meanwhile, Felix Owoblo, that's Owolabi, shared how every player came about with their nickname. That he shared how every player came up with a nickname. Let's hear him. Let's let him explain himself and how every player in that team got their nicknames.
Incidentally, in those days, not now anyway, when football was football in Nigeria, when everybody took our football as a religion, just like what is happening in Brazil today, the fine commentator, Ernest Okonkwo, I think, was the man who made the difference in our team. Virtually every member of the Eagles team in 1980 was given a name by Ernest Okonkwo. How we came about coining those names, very, very, very wonderful. You know, apart from Isola Folorunsho, Ernest Okonkwo is another person you can think of. And so the word Owoblo, I think he covered from my name. You remember those days too, Chuku was given the chairman of the team, Shegun was given mathematical, Adoke was given the chief justice, Silvanus Opala, and the likes of us. So I think it was Ernest Okonkwo who made the difference, Ernest Okonkwo.
Subsequently, we'll be giving you more thoughts from those players from 1980 that won our first Nations Cup. With that, let's go to CAF, where the reports coming from the Confederation of African Football, that CAF, shows that the 2 finalists from the Confederation Cup will qualify straight into the Champions League starting from next season. It was European Football Union, UEFA, that adopted the style a few years back in order to increase the competition in the Europa League. The acceptance of the system means that the finalists of this year's Confederation Cup will automatically play in the Champions League, irrespective of their position in their domestic league. The competition this season is already in the last 4 with 3 teams from North Africa and 1 other from Guinea. That's Houria SC. Zamalek of Egypt is the current holder of the cup after it defeated Raja Casablanca in the final last year. And let's go straight to the Premier League, where Nigerian International, based in England, will have their pay cut by 20% as the coronavirus stops the league from continuing. Alex Iwobi of Everton, Leicester City duo of Wilfred Ndidi and Kelechi Iheanacho will be affected as teams set to reduce the wages of their players and officials. While top-flight clubs are well-equipped to handle the unexpected loss of revenue, the same cannot be said of teams in the EFL and non-league. According to The Sun, talks have been held between the relevant governing body with regards to how to come through the ongoing global crisis. The report suggests that players may be asked if they are prepared to reduce their income by a fifth, with that money then be given to clubs in the national leagues and below. Although match would not be included, it is claimed that a portion of wages collected throughout April, May, and June could rise in the region of £105 million. Earlier this week, the Football Association announced that all leagues below the National League North and South had been brought to an end with immediate effect. Meanwhile, Manchester United have cleared striker Marcus Rashford to step up his rehabilitation from a back injury that had kept him out of action since January. Rashford told Sky Sports on Saturday that he is feeling 10 times better than he had done at the beginning of March as he recovers from the double stress fracture suffered against Wolves on January 15th. The England striker, who has scored 19 goals in 31 club appearances this season, said he expected a scan to reflect the improvements he had felt, and United confirmed those scans had shown encouraging signs. Quoting the club statement, they said Manchester United can confirm that Marcus Rashford has been cleared to step up his rehabilitation program following encouraging signs on his latest scan. That's the club statement and now is read. And let's go over to Spain and tell you that Barcelona players have accepted a 70% pay cut and pledged donations to help the club's non-sports staff continue to receive their full wages. Lionel Messi announced the move in an Instagram post, insisting Barcelona players were always open to pay cuts due to the coronavirus pandemic, but had to take time to iron out the details. Now, let's quote what Messi wrote on Instagram. He said, "The time has come to announce that apart from the reduction of 70% of our salary during the state of alarm, we were going to make contributions as well so that club employees can collect 100% of their salary for the duration of the situation." In confirming the move from all of Barcelona players, Messi criticized suggestions the club stars have been slow to take this step. He went on to say, "In fact, if the agreement has been delayed for a few days, it is simply because we were looking for a formula to help the club and also its workers in these difficult times." La Liga has been suspended since the first full week of March as a result of the COVID-19. And that's all we have for you on Sports Attack this lovely Tuesday morning on your number one sports dial, Today 95.1 FM. Don't forget to join the sports crew on today's Sports Live after the news update by 3 p.m. for the Nigerian Football Edition. Remember, wash your hands, always stay home and stay safe to stop the spread of the coronavirus. I still remain Dr. Skoki, the sports diva. Good morning and have a lovely day.
Are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.